All right, today we are diving into two really powerful techniques that can completely transform how you experience reading the Quran. It's a pretty profound shift in perspective. And you know what? It all starts with one simple but powerful question. So here it is. Just think about this for a second. What if reading a book wasn't a one-way street? What if it could actually be a dialogue? That single idea, well, that's the key to everything we're about to explore today. Okay, first up, more than a book. In this first part, we're going to explore this shift from seeing the Quran as just a static text on a page to seeing it as a living, breathing conversation. So this really lays out two totally different ways to approach this. On one hand, you have what most of us are used to, reading for information. You're just extracting facts, rules. It's a one-way activity where you consume a text. But on the other hand, there's reading for connection. And this is a game changer. Here, you're building a relationship. It becomes a two-way dialogue, an experience. The whole point isn't just to inform you, but to connect with you on a really personal level. To make this feel a little less abstract, think of it like this. When you open the Quran with this new mindset, it's less like reading an old textbook and more like tuning into your favorite podcast series or jumping on a Zoom call where God is speaking directly and personally to you. It's active, it's live, it's an engagement. So how do we actually practice this? Well, that brings us to our very first technique, the divine conversation. This is where we learn how to really foster that direct one-on-one relationship we've been talking about. So how do you actually do it? Well, it breaks down into three pretty simple but really powerful steps. First, and this is crucial, listen. Don't just read. Genuinely imagine the words are being spoken directly to you right now. Second, ask follow-up questions. This isn't a lecture, right? It's a conversation. So keep it going. That's how you build the connection. And third, experience it individually. This is your unique personal relationship that you're building, no one else's. And here's the most important point. The goal here isn't just to know more stuff, it's to get closer. It's all about building that relationship. A great model for this is the prophet Moses and his incredibly intimate back and forth conversations with God. That's the kind of deep connection we're talking about here. Okay, you ready for a fascinating shift? Let's move on to our second technique. This one is called speaking for humanity. And with this technique, you're asked to step out of that purely personal role and into something, well, something much, much bigger. Now, the key to understanding this is hiding in plain sight, right in the very first chapter of the Quran, Al-Fatiha. Look at this incredibly important phrase. Guide us to the straight path. I want you to pay really close attention to that one word, us.
Yeah, that plural us is everything. Think about it. While God's message comes to you as an individual, the structure of the prayer often has you speak back in plurals. You're not just speaking for yourself anymore. You're actually being positioned to speak on behalf of others.
And this introduces this incredible role that you're invited to step into, a vice sergeant for humanity. Just think of it like a leadership position. You're a representative, maybe even a team lead, who is speaking on behalf of all people when you're communicating with God. It's a huge responsibility. So let's put these two ideas right next to each other so we can see the amazing dynamic they create. First, God speaks to you. That's that personal, intimate connection from the first technique. And then, in the same breath, you speak for us. You take on this massive, beautiful responsibility of representing all of humanity. This creates this powerful dual role. You're at once the individual listener and the collective voice. So let's bring all this home in our final section, the takeaway. We're going to see how this whole journey from you to we creates a complete, holistic way of engaging with this text. So here it is, the whole picture in a nutshell. With technique 1, your role is listening, and your scope is individual. It's all about you. But then, with technique 2, your role completely flips. Now you're representing, and your scope expands to, well, to all of humanity. You see how that creates a relationship that's both deeply, profoundly personal and, at the same time, universally responsible? You're definitely not just a passive reader anymore. And that really brings us to our final thought. This whole view transforms a reader into both a listener and a leader. It's a huge shift. So the question I want to leave you with is this. What other vital conversations in all parts of our lives are just out there, waiting for us to make that shift from simply consuming information to truly, deeply engaging in a real dialogue?